Dynamic GT League. La Coppa. Dell'Asino. Rampante. Dynamic GT League. La Coppa dell'Asino Rampante.
Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's La Coppa Dell'Asino Rampante for Race 6 from Brazil, otherwise known as Interlagos or Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. Let's take a look at the current championship standings. SGP is leading the way on 92 points and he's 13 ahead of Steve F1, who's got a couple of points back to Demonara in third. Jason in fourth on 50 points with Fluffy in fifth on 48. Dave Harp in sixth, just a few ahead of Conrad in seventh. Jimmy in 8th on 30, Art Pal in 9th on 29, Rich Blues and Twilight tied for 10th on 26 points each. Then we've got Mitch and Bunsell tied on 25 points in 12th. SRI's in 14th on 20 points, while formerly Gary is a couple ahead of Hay at 17 points and 15 points, with Tyler in 17th on 10 points. Right, it's a fantastic racetrack. Let's have a look at the result of qualifying, and this time we've got Demon R on the pole position with a 1 minute 33.802, only 0.124 ahead of Steve F1. SGP starts in third place, almost half a second off, but ahead of Jason in fourth. On row 3 we've got Dave the Harbill lined up alongside Twilight, while on row 4 we've got SRI, who's going to have to keep an eye on Fluffy Planet. Row 5 we'll see formerly Gary alongside Bunsell in 10th place, and then we've got Rich Blues in 11th and Hay in 12th, with Hay not setting a time. Unfortunately a few drivers missing, Jimmy, Art Pal, Connor and Mitch all unable to race today, and Tyler not available as a reserve either, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, it's just about time to find out what's going to happen over there in sunny Brazil. So let's hand over to the commentators. So here we go then. Brazil! I hope you've got a Brazilian right.
Excuse me?
I tell you what we have got. That's lights about to go out, and away they go, and it looks like a decent start from Twilight and Dave the Harp actually. Oh, and looking on the pack cam, we've got a different perspective from the start, from the back. Demon R leads into turn 1 though, as Jason's having a sneaky look at Twilight, and on the pack cam we're having a good look at the rear end of SRI.
Yeah, it looks like everybody gets safely through turn 1 there.
We're going to say through the rear of SRI then. Oh god. We can see how this one's going to go, can't we? Okay, so we're already down to turn 4, Dave. We're a little bit deep on the brakes. Manages to just tag the Basque of SGP there.
The Basque?
The Basque, yep. It is late. I've been on the blackcurrant juice, so I'm not going to be able to speak. See Demon R leading the way as they head into turn 6 and turn 7. Probably one of the many difficult corners around this track, Ray. The other two being the tight right-handers in this middle sector.
Yep. Yeah, you get them wrong, you're sliding, or if you brake late, you're going to go deep into the corner. You don't want to do that, you want to get the apex.
And also, the way the racing line is, it leaves the door wide open, so we may see a lot of drivers defending in that middle sector. Oh, someone's trying to have a cheeky look up the inside of Hay. Didn't quite get it done. Steve F1 has might have a decent run on the back of Demon R here, but he's going to have to watch out for SGP right behind him. And as I'm sure we're not surprised, tyre wear around here a little bit nasty. Steve F1 has got a run on Demon R. Is Demon R going to go defensive? No, he's not.
Oh, he's leaving the door open. Is he thinking that Steve F1's going to be so tight that he's not going to really gain any benefit?
Quite possibly, because Stephen R hung it around the outside. Stephen R hung it outside. Yeah, he got this a bit cold out there. Watch out.
There wasn't much to hang.
Where's my Vaseline? For the burn, not for anything else. God, this commentary started well, hasn't it? Oh dear, you know what? I think I'm going to have to go looking for a new job at this rate. I mean, I did see a job for a Walnut Whip and Toblerone salesperson. It said, required for immediate start, must be willing to work as part of a pyramid scheme.
Alright.
Oh, Twilight, where are you going? Into the barrier. He must have heard my joke and just like, he's given up. Like, I've had enough, that's so bad.
I'm just hearing through the radio. Kate, can you smell burning? Kate, I've left the dildo on the backside at high rate. It's burning.
Can you get the Vaseline off, Dave? Oh god. This is going to be the video that gets us banned, isn't it? We've just had a whole lap of talking filth. Okay, so what have we got? Hey, look around the outside of SRI, who's got Rich up alongside him. So the 3 wide down towards turn 1. Tricky braking zone, about 75 metres. Jason going defensive. Fluffy isn't.
Oh, they'll get round fine. Oh, there'll be contact here with Jason and Fluffy.
That's going to close it right up. Yeah, Rich got ahead of the others that were 3 wide. He's now making a move on Jason.
Go on,
Rich nearly seriously put him into the wall. He's having a look up the inside. Gary having a bigger look. Oh, he's backed out of it, thank goodness for that.
Yeah, Rich backed out as well. Oh, it's a right sliding.
When he was backing out, when he went beep, beep, beep. Vehicle reversing.
I think it was more a shit, I don't want to be here.
Fair enough. Okay, looking at the
SRI looking to try and take that tighter line round Rich while Rich was doing the racing line, and that's where you can see the 2 cars may collide at the apex. Yeah. Oh, Rich, where is he coming from?
London. Jason on the back of Fluffy once again. I was going to say the Pat Cam's having a look at the leaders at the moment. They're looking a little bit spread out. Jason may be a little bit too close to Fluffy here to really benefit from the slipstream, so he might just bump draft him down the not so straight here at Brazil, and then perhaps go for a move into turn 1. But Fluffy's a bit of a wily old fox. And I think he'll go defensive as Rich gets up close and personal with the wall. Gary having a look at this side of him. Jason actually does go for the move up the inside. Fluffy perhaps a little bit too cautious there, but survives to fight another day. He's got less chance of getting injured doing this than his boss.
Yeah. He's got a wee bit of a safety barrier. There was a wee bit of contact there.
Yeah, there was. Rich was a little bit off track as well. Got to be careful out there on the right. Once having a look at the inside of Hay, but decides thinks better of it. Gary and SRI going at it along with Hay. So yeah, Hay backing out of it. It's given him a chance now to attack and actually pass SRI. But SRI will have the inside line into turn 6 and 7. You've got to be careful where Hay is because it's dirty out there. It's very easy to end up off the track. Is Jason still trying to fend off Fluffy now, and Hay still trying to get past SRI.
Yeah, and we've got Bunso and Rich Blues at the back of there just waiting for an accident to happen.
I tell you what, they're not far off the leaders. I know we're only on lap 4 at the moment. SGP's real close to the back of Steve F1. But Jason, who showed very good pace in practice, is not that far away from the leading 4. Dave the Harp being dropped a little bit by SGP and Steve F1. Is SGP going to go for the move? And it doesn't. I don't believe. Is he bump drafting? He's bump drafting. Steve friends.
Yep, Steve friends.
Do you want to bump draft?
I'll just tap you on.
Oh, I'm looking at the pack cam. SRI,
Yeah.
cheeky look up the inside of Gary. Gary's got the position inside on the next corner. Jason's pulled away from Fluffy a little bit. There is SRI ahead of Gary now. Yeah, we see on the pack cam SGP is not attacking Steve F1, so maybe they're trying to not let Demon R run away. Demon R in a surprise pole position here, actually.
I wonder if Steve F1 is shouting back to SGP, somebody's closer.
Demon R inside. I'll tell you what is close. Rich right behind SRI and Gary is there side by side. SRI's been side by side with the car pretty much every lap so far through this particular set of corners. Rich may be able to have a cheeky look up the inside of Gary here as SRI gets the move done. Now Rich will have a look around the outside, which will become the inside. No, he's backed out of it. Interesting. He's having a look though. He's going for the move up the inside. Can he get it slowed down in time? Yes, he can. Just Gary is a little bit wide though, a little bit wobbly. He's still in there though, and he's ahead.
Still got it, and he's still ahead. Fantastic driving, like, wow.
Ooh, Rich! Oh, don't think Rich like that. Like, fucking it, Maui. I don't know why Rich is really Scottish, but
Scottish, I know. I thought it was Jamaican.
I was going to try and get out of my way in Jamaica, but I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to try Rich switching to the right-hand side. Gary having a look at the inside. This could be tricky. You do not want to be where Gary is.
We don't want to be 4 wide.
Made it 2 by 2. That's a bit better. They'll all get through there. Should get through there. Oh, SRI got wobbly. Tagged Rich. That's going to give Gary the opportunity to sneak around the outside, but SRI and Rich are still there side by side.
Oof. This is some great racing, guys.
He's getting involved now. He's having a look behind Rich. Gary going deep on the brakes. Hay tags the back of Rich. Gary helps SRI stay in front of Rich.
Yeah, and how's this going to pan out? Where's Hay coming from? I just seen him come in the back there. Oh, SRI messed up. Rich got through. Gary's getting through.
Gary got sideways though. Yeah, he's compromised now.
Yeah, SRI's out in the dirty line, but he's got the inside line for here, but Gary's hanging it out on the outside.
I tell you what, that's so
Go on.
a bit nasty, isn't it? All Gary's over the inside.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the
Jesus Christ, Gary.
I'm wondering if the sun may be I'm trying to sneaky switch back on 2 cars. It's done Gary, but is he going to be able to keep it on the track? That's alright, get it wobbly. Hay makes the move. Gary's still fighting it in there. Oh, this, I tell you what, that's a good move from Hay.
Yeah, Gary, Jesus Christ, he needs a sun visor one, you know, the tinted sun visors on his helmet, the amount of sun glare you get off that car, blinding everybody.
I'm pretty sure Rich Blues has just dived into the pit lane as these guys are 3 wide down into turn 1 again. SRI on the inside of Hay. Gary going for a switch back. He's managed to do it on Hay. He's going to have the outside and then the inside. And this could get tricky now. If you're in Hay's position, you've got to be careful. You don't want to get pushed out wide, but he's gone out wide himself. Fluffy went off as well in the just ahead of them. So yeah, it's all frantic here at the moment.
Yeah, it's sometime in the dirty air. Like we've seen it in practice. Cars that were following the dirty air, they went massive wide. Didn't can't believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. SRI and Gary. So SRI side by side with the car once again into turn 6 and 7. Got used to this. I'm sure those words were oh yeah, it's shotgun.
What? George Ezra?
Yeah,
Shotgun.
Yeah. I could get used to this. Not quite exactly like I can't remember the main tune. I love the song. I listened to it the other day.
That's a different song you're trying to sing. That's not Shotgun.
I'll be riding shotgun underneath the gold
Hot
sun.
sun.
Hot suns. Yeah, because then part of it.
I thought you liked this song. Oh,
I do, but
the leaders are in the pits.
Oh, they are. Oh, thank God for that sake. Demon are in the pit. Steve F1 has followed them in. I don't know if Steve F1 wanted to pit then, but he's done it for tactics, I would guess, as SRI coming under a lot of pressure down into turn 1.
Look at this pack, they're catching up with Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp must be struggling in tyres or something because the pack's catching him.
Where's Jason?
Is Jason pitted?
I think Jason may have pitted as well as Demon R and Steve F1. And the reason I say that it's tactical for Steve F1 is if he hadn't followed Demon R in, he'd lose out a good 6-7 seconds to Demon R on and on by staying out the extra lap. SGP did stay out. The question now is, are Demon R and Steve F1 doing a 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stop, 4 stop?
4 stop, Jesus. We've not had one of them in a while.
No, that is true. Okay, SRI's got a little bit of a gap now to Gary. Interestingly, so the field has spread out a little bit. I don't know whether that's going to help people or hurt them. SRI closing in on Fluffy. So Fluffy now 3rd, SRI 4th. I'm wondering what the likes of SGP and Dave the Hart might do. Are they going to pit now? So they're going to lose out to Demon R and Steve F1, or do they keep going and hope that Demon R and Steve F1 get caught in traffic?
Yeah, that's another thing, but we'll need to find out as well is the traffic, how bad's try to get through the traffic as well. So
I mean, I
know SGP's kind of master of trying to go without putting, as we've got somebody else in the pit. Gary's in the pit.
Okay, so maybe then Demon R and Steve F1 pitting when they did may trigger a few others to pit. Richard pitted the lap before. He's now battling with Twilight, so I'm guessing Twilight had pitted as well, as looks like Rich was giving Twilight a little bit of a bump draft down the main straight. To be honest, it might help Rich to follow Twilight for a few laps if they're both on fresh tyres, get a nice amount of boost. Interestingly, Demon
Not if he's burning, not if his arse is burning.
True. SRI on the back of Fluffy. Fluffy was wide through Dell'Asino. He was wide through there. Now into turn 6 and 7, which is Ferrari Rampante.
Alright.
Now they're going
I'll just go look.
No, it's not Rampante.
I'm in the peak at the patio.
Patio.
Tato.
Peak at the patio. That's the best name I've heard for that course. Oh dear. I was going to mention as well that Demon R and Steve F1 had come out ahead of Twilight and Rich, and they're now right on the back of Hay, I believe, or closing in on Hay, just behind these guys. So there's Hay, yes, so there's Steve F1. Steve F1's behind Bunsell, so Demon R's past Bunsell. This is crucial, really, or Steve F1 making the move. But yeah, this is crucial for how Demon R and Steve F1's race is going to go. And somebody else into the pits, Fluffy into the pits.
Yeah, I was just hoping Bunter wasn't needing the pits there with Steve F1 covering them off. And that's something you've got to watch. If you've got a car run beside you, between you and the pits, you've got to either back out and go for the pits or go another lap.
Yeah, that is very, very true. You can't just turn in when the car there. Steve F1 has been able to close in on Demon R now, so obviously the traffic and the boost will help them both as they're closing in now on Hay. Really, this is the worst part of the track to catch a driver as well as Hay runs a little bit wide, because there's a chance they may get stuck a little bit here. But I was going to mention as well, with the fresher tyres, for the likes of SGP and Dave the Harp, if Demon R and Steve F1 get held up here, then them going another 5-10 minutes won't hurt them, because their tyres are
yeah, a wee bit slider there. Oh, is it going to let Steve F1 up the inside? He tried it, he couldn't get it. Oh,
Hayes going defensive. It looks like Demon R's going defensive on Steve F1 as well. Oh, but it looks like he may have took a bit of evasive. Steve F1, he's not going to try around the outside. What's Hay going to do into Young Cow? Demon R's in there giving it a move.
And Twilight's going to go round the outside of Steve F1.
Tell you what, Steve F1's got to run on Demon R here. Yes, he has. I think Hay defending the corner has put Demon R on the back foot a little bit as Dave the Harp is into the pits. I was going to say, fresh tyres.
And SRI.
Well, I was going to say that if SGP and Dave the Harp try going all the way to the end, their tyres would be dead at the end. Steve F1 having a look up the inside of Hayes. Turn 1, Twilight going around the outside of Demon R. Demon R was trying to make a move on Hay. He's now lost 2 platers. No, 3 if Jason gets past as well.
Oh, that's a Demon R be killing himself. He'll be setting me hay, come on.
Yeah.
Go back to the Isle of Wight, come on.
They were giving it. Oh, Twilight takes him back away. Oh, puts him into Demon R, sends Demon R wide. Oh dear, not a lot Hay could have done about that. It looks like Twilight's not passing Demon R. So perhaps Twilight realising, he just snookered Demon R. So Demon R's second attempt to get past Hay has been hindered as well. May have a dirty thighs. Oh, it's Jason. A little forcefully, perhaps, up the inside of Twilight. I think Demon R's going to be giving it. Come on, Hay, get out of the way, or you're going to end up under Mibiko Compatino.
See, when Jason starts getting his.
That needs an applause, that.
See, when Jason gets his his elbows out, I always think of the big Russian dude, even though he's not Russian, for Rocky.
Oh.
Just going, what's his name?
I don't know why, but for some reason in my head the name Ivan Wankoff came in. That's
Oh no, we're getting bad.
My name is Ivan Wankoff. Demon R's made the move on Hay, although Hay's fighting back. Jason having a look at the inside as well. Jason on the pack cam slots through. Lovely bit of drive in there from Jason. To be fair, Hay's done really well. Demon R will be hating him at the moment, but Hay didn't do anything wrong. Legitimately defending his position as he's allowed to do, and as he should do, really, as well. SGP still hasn't pitted, but I'm curious, how much has Steve F1 gained on Demon R through that transition of those pit stops and laps?
How much Steve F1's gained on who?
Well, how far ahead Steve F1 is now with Demon
R? Right, I thought you said gained on. I was like, Demon R's behind him.
Yeah, well, okay, open. He's opened up Demon R's gap. He's opened up the gap. I think it's about 4 seconds it's looking at the moment, and Demon R has got Jason right behind him, and Jason was fast in practice. Now, interestingly as well, in the practice session, Jason did pit after around about 10 minutes, and his tyres were so much better, as Twilight having a look at Hay, was so much better than everybody else's who tried not pitting at the end of the race, that Jason was able to overtake everybody and drive off 10-15 seconds into the lead. So SGP, is he going to try hanging it out there? Gary's going for a bit of a drift. It hasn't worked. Twilight.
Right.
It's Twilight. Yeah, it's Twilight Raikkonen.
Yeah, is he waiting? Oh, he's waiting.
He might. Maybe he hit Gary. That would make sense as to why Twilight had that bit of off. It was a slightly odd one. Rich now on the back of
Fluffy. No, Fluffy.
That's Bumsaw into the pits as well. So Fluffy trying to catch up to Hay now. Let's see, we're about we're nearly halfway through the race. So anyone that was just going to go, well, I'm going to one-stop here, straight down the middle, probably going to be pitting now. Like Bumsaw just has at the end of this lap. Rich, is he going to attack? No, he's not. Dave, I don't know if that was an attack or evasive, but he nearly ended up inside of Jamaica. I'll tell you what, you know, a minute ago you said, was it Demon R was going to want to kill him? It's funny you say that, right? Because
somebody went quite wide there. Who was it?
Fluffy's having a look around the outside of Hay on the pack cap. Rich, it may have been Dave, because Dave's attacking Rich, isn't he? Gary's having a look at the inside of SRI as well. He's made the move. Fluffy trying to get past Hay, can't quite do it yet. as they're making their way into the patio area.
Oh, he's got the run here. Is he going to go around outside? The patio. You bugger. He's doing an amazing job with his parking it on the apex, defending. Like,
Yeah.
what's Demon 7-time champion? And it took him 6. Yeah, I wish he was 7 times. He's trying to get his 8th as well.
Yeah, who's that into the pits? I think that is Hay. Yes, it is. So not a bad time for Hay to pit. He's going to have good times towards the end of the race. Rich Blues going in a little, I was going to say a little bit deep, but actually it was very, very good. Got past Gary through 1 and 2. That's all right, trying to sneak through as well. Dave the Harp there with not really anywhere to go, but he's going to have a sneaky look up the inside towards turn 4. Can't quite do it. No, he's trying. He is trying. That's risky, especially on 2 cars. Don't do it. Yeah. Oh, that's
right.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that could have been terrible.
Yeah.
Or could have been a murder.
He was so backwards. They're getting a. You know what? I had it in my head. The jacket where the arms go down the back. And
straight jackets?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, alright, I'll try that one again. Yeah, he was so backwards. They're getting a straight jacket ready for him in the pits. It's not as good.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rich now sideways. See, Rich likes
SRI.
He wants a straight jacket, doesn't he?
SRIs knew that it was going to come together because of the different lines, like we talked about, and he slammed on the brakes, and you just seen 3 cars hitting into each other.
I tell you what, Rich was.
Gary's got the run on SRI now.
He's up behind Rich. Oh, Gary into the wall. Oh, no, not Gary into the wall.
SRI.
Into the wall.
SRI into the wall.
Yeah, lost a couple of places there now as bumps. No, it's Twilight, sorry. Oh my goodness me. Dave the Harp. I think that was evasive. He's done an evasive overtake into 1. I mean, maybe that's something we can talk about afterwards, right? I mean, about someone taking evasive that turns into an overtake. We'll put that on the notes. Not that I'm making any. So Dave the Harp's got a little bit of a gap now. He needs to get a shift on because let's not.
SRI again.
Get that straight jacket ready, folks.
Eyes like Gary back through.
Good lad, well done. If you're gonna mess up, do it properly and then let him fall properly. But yeah, for Dave the Harp, he was second when he pitted, and obviously he's had to fight his way through the bit of a pack now. So the question would be, is he going to gain on SGP as these 3? Why don't they just share the same car? They're trying to share the same bit of tarmac.
Yeah, they have been for a while.
I took 16 minutes to go. See the gap between SGP and Steve F1. It's actually been coming down quite a bit. The gap between Steve F1 and Demon R is still about 4 or 5 seconds. Jason's still there, Fluffy. Sort of on his own at the moment. Dave the Hart, he's gone a bit deep. At the point you don't want to go a bit deep. It depends. If someone bump drafts here, Dave may get caught, but SRI and Gary side by side. They were side by side here on the previous lap. SRI ended up in the wall. Looks like Gary's heading to the pits. No, he's not. Oh my goodness me. Is he going for the move? He's late on the brakes. Watch out, Dave. SRI going for the switchback. Rich having a look for the second switchback, getting it done. Gary trying to hook the inside a bit.
Can Rich get it? We won't know till turn 4.
He has.
He's got it. Gary's flashed the lights.
Yeah, see, I think you've given a flash of the lights there. I'm wondering if that's my bad and sort of let him through. I don't know. But he's got right up his rear wing now. Or maybe it was a flash of the lights to say, keep looking in your mirror because I'm coming. Or heading towards turn 6. Once again, SRI with cars all around him. I think I just saw someone heading into the pits as well. I could be wrong then. I saw someone out of the corner of my eye on the back cam. Gary up the inside of Rich once again. Now Rich got the inside, but then Gary will have the inside with his bloody blinding car.
I need to put a ban on fucking chrome cars.
Does he think he is John Cena? You can't see me. Yeah, because I'm fucking blind. SGP's in the pits.
Is it? Oh yeah, so he is.
Yeah. Oh,
Came
Gary's...
back.
Oh, sorry, Gary and Rich were still fighting. Rich has gone for a little bit of a switch back. SRI's gone wide. That's let Gary through, but that actually might help SRI. The question now will be, what's Bunzel going to do? No, that's not what I mean. It's where's SGP going to come out? Dave the Harp? It's Dave the Harp. Dave's gone to the pits again.
Yeah, he's doing a two-stop. SRI's went to the pits as well. Rich Blues, Fluffy, SGP.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this could be close with Gary and Bunzel and SGP coming out of the pits. SGP on his way out of the pit lane, sort of now coming through the corner that Gary and Bunzel are coming through. They may be just ahead of him. Yes, they are, because SGP comes back on the track. Just behind
He's
him.
got just behind him, Demon Abel, B. Beelan.
Oh yeah. Let's see Bunzel on a bit of a charge here. Interesting, I'm wondering if Bunzel, on that previous lap just sort of sat back while there was a load of cars fighting in front of him. Now there's only one, as Fluffy's into the pits once again. Now there's only one car in front of him that he has to fight. So maybe a bit of tactics there from Bunzel, if I could see him. Gary going defensive, might not work for him. One of the things I will say about this track, some people hate this track. Personally, I love it, and one of the reasons I love it is it can give you some great racing, especially in this middle sector. What I don't like to see is people dive bombing up the inside in the middle sector, but when you get side by side, you can have some brilliant racing because you're on the outside for one, the inside the next, the outside. It's absolutely brilliant. SGP though, Gary's gone deep. SGP's got a run on Bunzel, but he's ran a little bit wide. Fluffy and Twilight battling on the pack cam. They're down in 8th and 9th. Gary got Bunzel bump drafted him, and Bunzel likes to do. And looks like Gary's going for the pits. No, he's not going for the pits.
Oh.
Okay, maybe that's something we'll have to have a look at. Gary's
G-corner.
Yeah, Gary's
The G-spot.
Hang on, where is Gary? Oh, there he is. Oh,
There it is.
where did they come from? To be fair, I wasn't looking at the screen. Has Hay got in there?
How's he ahead of SGP? SGP's going to be peeling now. Damon will be like, yes, get in there.
Two right, make it hard for him. Don't do it.
Did we miss something?
I'm
Why is he way ahead?
Well, SGP was behind Bunzel, wasn't he? And Hay was nowhere near. So I wonder if something may have happened into turn one with SGP, Bunzel, and Gary that we didn't really see, and Hay's been able to capitalise on it. Either way, Hay's on fresh tyres. You know what? And he won't have to pit again because he pitted just after the halfway point. So SGP, I don't know if Gary needs to pit, but SGP is actually racing Hay at the moment. I'm surprised that Dave the Hart pitted though, because he wasn't that long ago that he pitted, unless he's thinking just have those better tyres at the end of the race. What that has given us though is Steve F1 now leading, SGP behind Gary, Gary's taking a tight line into Young Cow. I don't think that'll work for him. Yeah, he's compromised his exit a little bit, but SGP may be a little bit too close, although if he can latch onto Hayes' slipstream, he'll be loving that one.
Depends how Bunzel gives the bum draft if he does it, because we know he likes to do it.
Do not give SGP a bum draft. Chances are you're going to get poisoned by gas.
SGP's got the move done on Gary into turn one there. Whoa, Gary having a wee moment there.
Got massively sideways. I just want to say shout out as well to SGP's daughter Holly. I want to say thank you very much for turning the bathroom light on and off when I was having a poo. Have any idea how hard it is to wipe your backside when someone's turning the light off?
Oh, you got your knee sofa?
At SGP's, the bathroom light is on the outside. It's not on the inside.
Somewhere like that.
Yeah. Anyway, right, what we've got, Steve F1 leading, Demon second, Jason third, Hay fourth, SGP trying to close in on him, Gary there. So I'll tell you what, the pack has kind of formed back together now, hasn't it? And there's a bit of a gap to the front three, but everybody else is right here. What was it? We had Jason with everybody behind him a couple of races ago. Now it's Hay, because SGP is right on him.
Yeah, how quick will SGP clear Hay here?
Hay's gone defensive. That's going to compromise him. SGP will have a better run out the corner. He could have gone for just slipstreaming, but I think he wants to just get on with it. He may not realise as well that Hay's got fairly decent tyres at the moment. But I wouldn't be surprised if Hay slots in. See, this all bumps Twilight in the wall. Sorry. I was going to say, Hay took him for the slipstream. If he's been evolving as a driver, this is what he'll do. And then he'll attack down into the braking zone. Around the outside, he tries. He's got the inside. Or, you know, I tell you what, fair play to it. The opportunity was there. Maybe he was just a little bit hesitant. Perhaps didn't know if SGP knew he was still there. But I got to say, we've seen some good driving from Hay in this one.
Oh yes.
Who are you, Churchill?
Brilliant. Oh yes. It's been brilliant racing. Oh, Dave, Twilight. Oh, yeah, brilliant racing from everybody, but Hay's been on the ball with defending his corners.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. All Fluffy giving Gary a little bit of a nudge. Maybe you can see him blinded by the nose. Don't really make a day job. I'm going to give it up. I was going to say something else though. SGP, is he getting away from Hay? He is a little bit. David Hart's still in the pack though.
Yeah, he's lost out because what was he, fourth?
Yes, before all pit stops he was fourth, but he has got a decent set of tyres on now, so we're probably hoping that he can try and sort of get past these guys as quickly as possible.
But at the same time, SRI and Rich Blues pitted at the same time, so he's get free.
Gary and Fluffy side by side. Yeah, see, Dave may not be aware that SRI and Rich pitted at the same time, so they've got the same sort of tyres. Dave. Oh, I don't know if that's evasive or offensive, attackive. Side by side they go. Gary's held Fluffy off. Nice bit of driving from Gary there. Fluffy going to have a look for a bit of a switchback. Gary's having absolutely none of it though. Hay showing that dirty air you was on about earlier.
Yeah,
when you go on that dirty.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I was too busy watching Fluffy and Gary here. Dave!
I tell you, a bit of a concertina effect, and Richard's capitalised on it. I tell you what, everyone did really well.
No, he's not. He's back. SRI's looking up the inside of Dave. He's got Gary.
That he has there. SRI just about ahead on the pack cam. We've got a view from Rich behind them. That would suggest to me that there's not a lot happening up at the front three at the moment. So it gives an interesting perspective considering he's costing anything on Gary's car.
Jesus God, it's Africa.
I've never
Dave the Hart.
I've never been a commentary before wearing sunglasses, excuse my language, but Gary needs tinted livery. Hay has been caught by this gaggle of cars now. Fluffy is on him. Rich trying to have a look around the outside of Gary, but SRI's there as well. Oh, Twilight's caught up too. This is mental. It's fantastic to be honest.
Yeah, it's great racing from everybody.
Wait until after two.
Yeah. Houston, they have a problem.
I tell you what, everyone's still facing the right direction at the moment. That is fantastic. This is absolutely epic. Sorry.
Who are you, Gary Bell?
I'm not. Twilight making a move, having a look behind Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp's up the inside. Tight line, little compromised on the way in, but you're safe on the mid and corner exit, but you're going to be on the outside then for turn 6. Gary, Twilight, SRI, 3 wide. No, Gary, Twilight, Rich for 3 wide, and they think better of that. Fluffy has got ahead of Hay, so he's now trying to break away in the front. So Hay, bit of a cork in the bottle, so it's a Hay cork.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I've got a question for you, Ray.
What?
If you could do anything at the weekends, like as a hobby, what would it be?
At the weekend as a hobby?
Yeah.
I'd be racing, to be honest.
Oh,
Go-karting or something.
Well, see, I decided to join an autopsy club, and can't wait till next weekend, next Saturday. It's open mic night.
Alright. How good's Mike? Oh, is it? I knew that.
I know. Now that one is teetering on the edge of offensive, so if anybody is upset by that joke, I do apologise. It is a joke. Dave Hart seems to like that inside line, doesn't he?
Yeah. He goes late on the brakes and he's trying to keep it in that inside line. Let's see if he's going to try and do a switchback. He's got Hay behind him now. Hay's been doing great. So even with all the guys here have been doing great. They've all been side by side with each other at some point.
Absolutely, yeah. And even this is why we said all along. If you give space and you get given space, you can have great racing because the battles just keep going. I mean, you're not alone it's going on from a viewer perspective. It's absolutely bloody brilliant. Dave Hart trying to make moves on SRI, but he's got to be careful of what Rich is doing behind him. I'm just having a quick look at the time. What we've got, 36:31, so we've got 3.5 minutes to go, so maybe 2 laps to go. And it looks like we may be doing a cam view from the race leader, from his front bumper. Clearly no damage on that front bumper, although it has got a special mirror attached to it for some reason. They're having a quick run through the order. Fluffy's managed to break away from the pack, and I tell you what, I think he'll be glad to be able to do that. SRI though, he's got the pack right behind him now, as Rich Blues is giving Dave the Harp a bit of a bump draft.
Yep, and then you've got Gary coming in giving Rich Blues a bump draft.
And
there's
around the outside. Can they all get it slowed down in time? Can they all give the room? You can see that they're definitely trying to give the room. And yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. Oh, Gary's unlucky. A little bit too much on the curb. He's wobbling, but he survives. Oh, he's like a team of I think Bunsen just got into the back of Gary there, but it's okay. He's able to keep going. Dave the Harp is in a right fight here, side by side with Hay. SRI's just got a little bit of a gap that if the cars behind him keep battling, he may be able to open up that gap a bit more. Dave the Harp, yeah, he's not going to want to look in his mirror.
Oh, who was that? Was that Fluffy we just seen as well? SRI's trying to catch up with Fluffy. He's bringing the pack. Fluffy, get a move on.
You know what? It looks like it because Fluffy had. Yeah, so SRI is just closing in on Fluffy. Dave the Harper's closed up a little bit on SRI as it looks as we're going for a lap with Demon R now on the pack cam. So is SRI far enough ahead? Hayes just tagged Rich. He'll get away with it though. He's going to have Bunsen right behind him as well. How long we got left? 1:20. So
this will be the last lap for the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. The leaders, they may get another one in. It could be close, but for the pack, yeah, this will definitely be at their final lap as SRI defended into one. So it's Dave the Hart, Rich and Hayes side by side. Gary having a cheeky look. Twilight, holy cow! I think
but that's the wrong corner you're talking about. The young cows away back there. What?
Did I say young cow?
I think so.
I didn't even notice. What I was going to say was it's not the...
Oh, you said holy cow, but I was saying the corner's called young cow.
Obviously, what I was going to say as well, it's not Wacky Well Evasive, but fair play to Twilight, he's not gained an advantage. Look, he was taking evasive. SRI has got a bit of a gap to Rich Blues is who's battling with Dave the Harp on this lap. So Rich has got a great opportunity here of 7th. Oh, bump, 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 bump. That's unfortunate. Easily done though. I'm just wondering, I'm looking at the track map, Ray. Steve F1 is heading towards the start-finish line now. Demon R's not far behind it, but it looks like Jason in 3rd is right behind Demon R. And are they going to get another lap? I don't know. I think, yes, yeah, the front 3 have got another lap. And
yeah,
Jason,
we're on SGP here, 4th place.
Yeah, and on the pack cam we're on board with Jason now, so we can see how close he's got to Demon R. So SGP is going to finish. He's going to finish first, but he's not first. He's 4th. Floppy, he's done well to break away towards the end there. He's going to take 5th place. Good result for him. SRI.
Oh, look back.
He's got 6th. Dave, I think, was 7th. Rich Blues, yeah, no surprise, 8th. But
Oh, Dave the Hart was 7th, 8th. Rich Blues, yeah.
Rich lost at 8th place.
Yeah.
You know what? Jason is
maybe
close
tell him.
on Demon Aria.
Yeah, did we not tell him it's no reverse grid?
Yeah, well, yeah.
8th place switched to first or whatever you call it.
Tell you what, Steve F1, since the pit stop, he's had a gap to Demon R, but Demon R has not been able to close in. He's kind of held around about 4 to 5 seconds. Jason, though, being able to close in on Demon R in the latter stages of the race, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to attack towards the finish line. So Steve F1 coming round Young Cal for the final time in this championship, and he'll be absolutely delighted, not only with him taking the victory, but SGP being down in 4th. It's the points gain that Steve F1 and Demon R need. So Steve F1, I don't know if he was weaving or taking the Gary line. No, he's weaving. He's celebrating their victory here in Brazil. And Demon R is going to take 2nd place with Jason right behind him. Although we didn't see much of them for the last few laps. Great race from the front 3. But I think an even better race from the pack, right?
Oh, yeah. Much great race from the pack. Like, oh, you can't fault them. There was wee taps here and there, but you can never fault them.
No,
that was great.
Absolutely not. I mean, when it comes to faulting people, I regret dating my.
What, did you get a pole?
No. I regret dating my last girlfriend. She was an X-ray technician. She could see right through me.
I bet you could. Just like I can when your jokes are coming.
Hey, it could be worse. I could have a fear of moving. I can't. My fears of moving stairs has escalated.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't move the stairs then.
You know how when
Take the escalator.
Yeah, you know how when I sing, you say don't give up your day job. I'm looking for a new one. Saw an advert today. Street sweeper required. No training necessary. Just pick it up as you go along.
Okay.
And with the singing, are you ready for this one? My neighbour played the same Lionel Richie song on loop. I wouldn't mind. It was all night long.
Alright, was it?
All night long. Yeah, that was bad, I know. I think I might have told her one before. Right, I'm going to save the rest of them because I've got one there about meatloaf. The singer, not the food. Okay. Yeah. I don't think it would be possible to go through how everybody's race went in that because there was just so much. All I will say is hats off to the guys in the pack. I think that's probably one of the better displays we've seen of side by side, trying to give space, having the battle, enjoy. It was fascinating to watch. Really, one of the ways that you know when a race has been absolutely fantastic is when you're doing commentary, you don't realise you got to the last laps.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Especially here at Brazil with the twistiness, the grip from the track. It wasn't that great either.
No, that's
So-
true.
But everybody just done fantastic.
Yeah.
I think a big pat in the back from them all.
Did you get that down at Young Cow?
What?
A pat on the back.
You're not just giving it up tonight, are you?
No, I'm on one.
How much have you had to drink?
Nothing. Maybe that's the problem. What was I going to say? Next track. Do we know what the next track is?
No, I don't. Let's see.
Let's have a look.
It's using them for. Where were we? We were at Brazil. Nürburgring GP.
Ooh. Okay,
I like that track.
I must admit, so do I. It's another track like Brazil, though, where it's a brilliant track to drive, but it can be a difficult one to race. But if the guys approach it in the way they have this one, by always trying to give room to people, we'll have great battles there as well. Historically, Nürburgring has thrown up quite a few crashes. And not necessarily because people are doing stupid things. It's more a case of like the braking down into turn one isn't easy. The next sort of section of corners are a bit sort of awkward. The track is narrow. You've got the brilliant sort of slightly banked hairpin up into the Schumacher S's, and then a medium fast left and a medium fast right where people might try overtake it. And then you've got a nice fast straight. Again, it's narrow, leading into a very tight chicane where, okay, yeah, you can overtake, but you're not going to be wanting to be coming from behind to make moves there. Well, your tyres, I don't think, are going to like it. I mean, I'm not saying that this is a rule, but I think with that one, if you're not already alongside at the braking point, you probably shouldn't be going for it.
And then you've got to watch it, because if you go too far wide of the bollard that sticks on the second part of the chicane, the stewards don't like it and give you a wee penalty.
Yeah. And you can also get reset.
That's what I was talking about, but I was saying it as a steward thing, you know.
Okay, fair enough. You were cleverer than I was on that one. I thought that might be what you're on about, but then I thought, nah, he's not that smart. I'm joking. What I will say though is there were a couple of things from today's race that I think we should talk about. So I think it's time for a special part of the video.
The G-Spot.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A couple of things to talk about. One, I mentioned taking evasive that turns into an overtake. Is that okay?
I didn't quite see it. I wasn't really watching the main screen when it happened. Face event, as long as you've not impeded somebody.
Yeah.
Like, if you've impeded somebody's while taking evasive, then I wouldn't be trying to make a gain on it. But if you've taken evasive and you've not like cut a corner, you've not smashed somebody else off while taking evasive, and you come out ahead, then fair play.
Yeah, well, what I will say is sort of hashtag situation dependent on that as well. It's not one straight rule for everything. It's not a rule actually, but it's not cut and dry for all. I mean, for example, in the race we saw Twilight take evasive behind Demon R, but then hit Hay into Demon R. Now, technically, Twilight didn't touch Demon R, but he did touch the car that put Demon R off. So Twilight waited, which would, in my mind, is the right thing to do. Change the scenario a bit, take Hay out of that equation. Twilight takes evasive, ends up the inside, ends up ahead without any contact. Can't really penalise him for it, because although it's like it may not be great, sometimes taking evasive luckily turns into an overtake. I think it happened with, I think Dave the Harp said with an overtake he did on Steve F1 at the last race. I think it was down into the Mulsanne hairpin. You know, when we were saying he's wobbling on the brakes, he actually wasn't going for an overtake. It took evasive and ended up there, and it turned into an overtake. So, yeah, I think it's one of those where it's not something I'd look at necessarily penalising, but also what I wouldn't want people to do is go dive bombing and go, I'll take an evasive, because, yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah. I don't think the stewards would take nice to it either. They'll be like, come on.
Yeah.
How many times are you taking evasive?
Good point.
You said you're taking evasive, there was nobody around you.
Well, yeah. I mean that would be a difficult one to explain. I saw a bird. I thought I saw a putty cat. Okay. The other thing we saw as well.
A Brazilian one.
Oh Jesus! A Brazil. Oh my God. Yeah, I just read Brazilian pussycat. I've got a bad image of a vagina going meow. In my head. I dare any guy out there. Do not blame me. I dare any guy out there. The next time you're having a bit of you and me time with the missus, when you're downstairs, just go meow.
Jesus.
Okay, yeah. The other thing we saw in the race as well, which was involving Gary, was an interesting line on the main pitch straight.
Yeah, we thought he was going for the pits, but he didn't. I don't know, was he doing did his team radio get it mixed up saying pit, 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 and then go, no, stay out.
Or was he taking evasive?
What was he taking evasive?
I don't know.
I don't know, I can't tell, but with that one, like, there has been times we've kind of raced down, I can't remember what we were doing, but we were using part of that area that we shouldn't really be doing, that Gary done. Maybe there's two parts to this. Maybe the stewards and admins could have said, remember, there's this part of the track you're not supposed to be
On it.
going in it while going through there, but at the end of the day it is white line track limits.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean the area, for anyone who doesn't know, the area we were talking about is where the pit lane line starts, leads up to an area that then splits into the pit lane and the racetrack, and there's an area.
Like a V.
Yeah, like
It's like a V.
Of tarmac that isn't the racetrack, and yeah, I mean, okay, the admins could have said, just to remind you guys, you can't cut this bit, or you can't drive over this bit. If somebody ends up over there from taking evasive, then fair enough, but yeah, you have to be careful because it is dirty over there, so it's not somewhere we necessarily want to see people sort of drive. I think we saw it once with Gary when he was just ahead of Bunsell, and he sort of drove that way, so it was right. It didn't really look like evasive; it looked more like defensive. But what I would say is, yeah, that bit's not really part of the racetrack. Now, I don't know whether the stewards would do anything about that on this occasion, because, well, my personal view is. We saw Gary do it a couple of times there, so I would say to Gary, just remember you can't use that bit, because in the race in this one, going over there won't have gained him anything, because it'd have made his tyres dirty as hell and then made turn one very, very difficult. So he might have found that he was sliding through turn one. Now that isn't me saying that you can go cutting corners or bits of track all over the place. This area of track is kind of like, it's a bit of an anomaly, but it's almost like a Nürburgring, you know, the final chicane. There's actually two of them, isn't there? There's the one that cars use and the one that bikes use, and the one that bikes use is the nicer chicane, but that's not part of the racetrack that we race on, so you can't go driving that bit. I mean, it's there, you could go and do it, but it's not part of the racetrack, and it's the same thing with this at Brazil. So yeah, I don't know if a penalty would be something I would say, oh, he needs a penalty for that. Honestly, no, I'd just say probably just remind him and others that, yeah, that area technically is not part of the racetrack.
Yep.
Was there anything else that you might have wanted to mention while we're in the G spot?
Yeah, but everything seemed okay. Just do a couple of things. Unless there is something I'm supposed to be saying and I can't remember.
No, not really. I tell you what, there was something actually that I was meant to mention to you, and I might as well mention it now because then other people can hear it. It's nothing that they shouldn't hear. Recently, we had a post-race comments question, which was, what do you think of qualifying, and do you think something should change? And everybody gave their answers, which is fair enough. Well, I had an idea a couple of days ago, which I think is quite interesting and could give us something a little bit different without actually doing anything that different. And potentially could be something to use with the Expo, because the Expo, I don't know if we've announced what tracks are being used with that, but this format could potentially work with it. So I'll mention it to you. You don't have to comment about it, but maybe something you think about. Okay, so at the moment we have a 10-minute qualifying session.
Okay.
Keep the qualifying session at 10 minutes. Right? The first 5 minutes of the session, the top half of the driver's standings, or for race 1, the top half of the previous championship result, can go out on track and do laps, and they can complete a lap that they start before 5 minutes has passed. Once the 5 minutes has passed, any lap that they complete, they have to leave the circuit. Once they get to the 5 minute mark, the other half of the drivers get to come out on track and do their qualifying laps. So basically it'd be like having a split qualifying session. The top half get 5 minutes, the other half get 5 minutes, and it would create a bit more space on the track.
So how do you determine the top half and the bottom half?
Like I say, for race 1, I would say you could say, right, let's use the final championship standings of this championship we're in now, right, would determine the top half and bottom half for the first event. So let's say 12 turn up at the first event. The top 6 from that go out first, the bottom 6 from that go out for the second 5 minutes. From race 2, you do it on current championship standings. Now, one of the reasons of doing it that way round, of having the higher order drivers go first, is it would give the other drivers 5 minutes to watch what the more experienced guys are doing, and perhaps be able to go, oh, right, okay, that's where I'm losing a bit of time, or maybe I can try that.
Let me stop you there. It might. You're saying the most experienced drivers, but is it? Because somebody could be a fluke in the pothole there and be up there. That wording's a wee bit wrong there.
Okay, I mean, I was trying to avoid saying the top half and bottom half. The wording can be worded however anyone likes it. Those lucky enough to be in the top half of the positions at said time get to go out in the first 5 minutes. So yeah, but considering that the 3 championships that are coming up are part of a sort of a learning from one car to another car to another car, it may be an interesting way of mixing up qualifying a bit while actually not changing much at all, but giving drivers the opportunity to have a look at what others are doing on qualifying laps or lead up to qualifying laps, but then also having that little bit of extra space on the track when it comes to actually putting their lap in. Because one of the things I think from the comments, it's not the main thing that came from it, but there was a couple of people that commented sort of like have a one-shot quali where only one person on track at a time, or basically being able to not be affected by anybody else on your lap. And considering what we may be doing with the Expo, it might be something that could work. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the guys think, because you've just done it for the first time. I happened to mention it to SGP and Steve F1 while we were playing golf, I think you and I, when I thought of it. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what people's thoughts are.
I don't know. Like, I'm not too sure, to be honest. What happens if somebody's just crossed the line after the 4-minute mark and it's like a 2-minute?
Oh, if they cross the line
Oh,
at 4:59.59, they can carry on. They can finish their lap. But if they cross the line at 5 minutes, they can't. So basically, those first 5 minutes would be exactly the same as the lap. So currently, in a qualifying session, if you get to the line before that flag drops at 10 minutes, you get to complete your lap. Regardless of what track it is, you get to complete your lap. Now, see, I've kind of factored this in. So when the 5 minute mark is hit, people who haven't started their lap yet, their session's done once they've crossed the line. Okay, they have to return to the pits. Those that get to the line before the 5 minutes are up are able to complete their lap. When it gets to 5 minutes, the second half of the grid get to go out on track. Oh no, but what about anyone that is on a lap still? Well, that's not a problem, because those guys that have come out of the pits on 5 minutes are on an out lap and should get out the way. Because let's put it this way, if you're coming out of the pits and you on the track map have got an arrow coming towards you from turn 1, you've got to get out of the way, because that's enough of an indication to say they're on their lap.
and how's the steward's going to steward this?
Easily. All you got to do is look at the timer in the corner. It's on the screen there for everybody to see. Anybody leaves the pits before that 5 minute marker is up, oh you naughty boy. Oh you naughty boy.
What about people saying that they started their lap just before the 5 minute marker?
Well, you see, you'll be able to... well, you see,
post.
Those guys that are in the pits waiting for those people to finish on that first group will be able to see that. Because think about it, if you're sat there waiting for the 5 minute mark to come up, when it gets to 5 minutes, you'll easily be able to see if anybody's crossed the line or not. I could just keep telling jokes.
I don't know, you fucking did, actually.
I think it's I understand what you're saying there. Like,
it's interesting, yeah. Interesting concept, but just got to make sure everything's covered. So we do.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be an in-depth chat between the admins.
Well, you see, maybe
the top timer.
Yeah, maybe it would have to be part of trust with the drivers. I mean, let's put it this way. Me personally, I know if I'm on a lap and I get to the line at 5 minutes 01, I'm not going to be doing the next lap. Now, one of the reasons for that is I live stream, so people will be able to see and go, oh, you cheated, so and so, you got TC on whatever. But no, we'd never go down the route of forcing people to do that. So maybe a little bit of trust, but also, I mean, let's not forget as well. Okay, let's say, for example, as an answer, potential answer, right? There is a fairly decent chance that there's a certain few drivers that will be in that first group that go out. Now, let's say, for example, if SGP is one of them and I'm one of them, SGP. I'm trying to think now. SGP has finished a lap, doesn't think he can go faster, so he's returned to the pits. He's now watching me to see if I cross the line at 4:59 or 5 minutes. Anyway, it's one that can be an in-depth chat with the admins, along with traction control, because that was an interesting answer with the traction control question last week.
I never got that question. You know, there's there's these questions about such and such that the admins would look at, and yeah, I never get the questions. I always get the crappy questions.
It's interesting. You have to be in the race to get the question. I tell you
All drivers are part of the drivers.
it's a post-race question about the race, kind of ish. I'll ask you now. What's your view on traction control, Ray?
My view on traction control. I'd like to see it gone, but I know the drivers use it in car dependent, so that's not going to be, I think, a route we could take. But my view would to see it gone, especially on the starts with these Steve flames that go traction control.
Oh, I can't say anything. I do as well. But that's the thing, right?
You cheating?
No,
Bugger.
no, I'm using the tools.
That's worse than when we're playing golf. And
No, it's not. I wondered how you duffed a shot that went boom, and it's still ended up on the green. That was the point. I was like, hang on a minute.
the other Steve friend that was playing all the rounds of golf and easy mode while we were all trying to do it. And I was getting minus body 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
40, yeah. He needs to retake all the courses. I'm not happy with
I
him.
think he should reset his PGA career and have to earn all the clubs again. Okay, what I would say with the traction controls, if there was a driver that said, I need traction control on, okay, no problem. If there isn't a driver that says, I need traction control on, I think having it banned for the next championship would be a brilliant way to go. And one of the reasons I say that is the crossbow, you don't really need traction control in that car. Yes,
Is it easy policed?
Oh yeah.
Is there a
there's a setting that you can ban traction control. It's one of the reasons why the question has been asked. Well, not one of the reasons, but I think if there wasn't an option to ban it, to turn it off, then I don't think it would ever have been a discussion. But yeah, so with the Expo, you don't need traction control. Now, does the Expo or does the Ferrari get a better launch off the start with traction control on? Yes, meaning that anyone that's starting with traction control on will get a much better start than anybody without it. And that is why you'll find that me, SGP, Steve F1, we're using it, because if I don't, SGP will, and he's going to overtake me at the start. If I use it and SGP don't, Steve F1's going to... Steve F1 does. Yeah. So we're basically using it because if we don't, we know the others are and they'll get the advantage. Now, if it was banned and you weren't able to use it at the start and it was all down to the driver, that would be a lot better. And as I said, the Expo, you don't need traction control. But also...
No wonder I go back at the starts.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as we start, everybody else flies by me and I'm like...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, how do you think some people gain like 4 places at the start?
Cheating.
Yeah, but the Super
Cheaters.
Formula doesn't need traction control either, really. It's a bit twitchy in first and second gear, but once you're in third, it's actually pretty good. And it's faster without traction control. And the other old F1 car that we use in the F1500, you don't need traction control in that either. So...
Imagine that revving it and then it just bungs down with traction control. You'd be like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
I know, like the Ferraris and that with not great power, maybe helps them out, but you get a big beast of a vehicle and traction control bunging it down. You'd be like, come on.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. There have been some cars where when you do a traction control start, it does bog down and die on the line. But then there are other cars that you can do a traction control start, like the Toyota Supra that we did in a championship. I found out I actually had an advantage for the first 4 races, I think it was, because I worked out that you could do a traction control start in 2nd gear, and you could get a better initial launch, then knock it down to 1st and get I was untouchable off the starts. The only problem was in the first 4 races, the run to turn 1 was not enough for me to gain many places. And then I told everybody about it, and everyone else did it then, or at least those who knew about it did it. But yeah, so there's some cars that you can use it in higher gear. So like the full F1 car, you could probably put that in 3rd gear and do a traction control start. But if you're doing that compared to somebody that's doing a no TC start in 1st gear or 2nd gear or 3rd gear, the TC launch will be miles better.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've actually waffled about this for a while, so what I was going to say, Ray, is maybe this is a test to see how much the drivers actually listen into our waffle. Maybe the drivers should let us know what they think now that they've heard that traction control can actually be banned with a setting on the lobby that would turn it off for you anyway.
Yeah, send them to the page.
Yeah, send it to the page. Yeah, not direct to SGB, send it to the page. We'll just give a quick shout out as well to Art Pal, who unfortunately has had a bit of an accident and broken his humerus, broken his shoulder. So he's going to be out of action for a while, unfortunately.
They find it funny?
No, not really. Not really.
No. How did they do it? You may have told me, I can't remember.
No, he got. I think the way he described it to me was he was playing football, he was going for a shot, he got hit, he landed sort of forwards and down onto his shoulder, so his arm was sort of a bit behind him, and he's landed forwards onto his shoulder, and it's basically broken his arm next to the ball joint of the shoulder, but also crushed the inner part of the ball joint inside. So yeah, he's messed it up a good.
I bet he done a classic footballer and rolled about.
No, it didn't take long for him to ask if he'd scored the shot, and they're like, no, it was well wide, mate. But yeah. But don't worry, me and SGP have got him one of those balls you stick on a steering wheel, so you can steer with one hand. So you never know, we might see him back on track soon. But yeah, I will say quick.
Balls. Not steering wheel.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's massively unfortunate. It's the last thing he needs, to be honest, as well, or anyone needs.
Well, speedy recovery to him. I know it's going to be a long process.
Yeah, well, I think he knows it was bad when Mum ended up having to go and look after him. Considering that you know what he's been through recently, I mean, neither of them have, like, one's got right arm that don't work, the other one's got left arm that don't work, but right.
Don't need to be that stuck on you. You seen that film?
I
Stuck on you.
I love that film. When he pulls the curtain back, he says, do you mind if we roll over? What do you mean you've not told her about me? Well... if anybody hasn't seen the film Stuck on You, watch it. It's one of Matt Damon's best.
It's great. Yeah.
It really is.
It's quite up there with Departed, but it's a comedy one.
Yeah, it is absolutely brilliant. It really is. Even I'm thinking of things in the film now as well. Like when one of them.
What was your mum and out, pal?
Oh God. No, I was more thinking about when one of them tried to do a karate kick in a TV show and fell on his arse. But yeah. Right, okay, I think it might be time to have a look at some information.
Question.
Oh,
Oh no, it's okay. I'll ask it afterwards.
alright. Yeah, okay, Ray, thank you very much for joining us on commentary.
No worries, always a pleasure as always. Hope you've got the audio set right before that pal wins.
Oh, well, you're louder than me this week, so we should be alright. At least I think you are, anyway. Right, yeah. let's take a look then at what that result has done to, well, confirm the race result and what it's done to the championship standings. Steve F1 confirmed with the victory, the maximum 20 points. Demon R second place, Jason with a great result in third, SGP 4th, Fluffy 5th, SRI 6th, Dave the Harp 7th, Rich Blues in 8th, Formula Gavin in 9th, Bunsall in 10th, Hay 11th and Twilight in 12th. Well, there was one thing reported, I believe, but no penalties coming from it. Information of that is on the Facebook page. So let's take a look at what that result then has done to the championship standings. And well, things have got a little bit tighter up at the top. SGP still leading the way on 105 points, but now only 6 behind is Steve F1 on 99. Also closing the gap, Demon R on 94 points, 11 behind the leader. We then got Jason in 4th place on 65. We've got Fluffy Planet 5 behind him in 5th. In 6th place is Dave the Harp on 53 points, and then a little bit of a gap to Conrad, who's dropped down to 7th. Rich Blues jumps up to 8th place. He loves that point, that position, and all the points that go with it. 35 points for Rich Blues. 9th place is Bunsell on 32 points, with Twilight and SRI now tied 10th on 31 points each. Then we've got Jimmy, who drops down to 12th with 30 points. Art Pal drops down to 13th on 29 points. And then we've got Mitch and Gary now tied 14th place, so Gary recovering well. 25 points for both of them. Hay on 21 points is 16th, and Tyler is 17th on 10 points. 3 races to go, and Nürburgring GP is the next one, then Brands Hatch and Monza. The championship fight is getting a little bit tighter, but that's exactly what we want to see. SGP might not, but we do. It'll be interesting to see what happens in these final few races. And to find out what's going to happen, you're going to have to join us, aren't you? So hit that like, subscribe, notifications, you know the things to do. Also, feel free to check out the Dynamic GT League merch available on the Streamlabs website. Information is in the description. Right, have a good one, everybody. Let's see what's going to happen at the Nürburgring.